Good evening. Happy Tuesday. I was thinking, is it Wednesday or Tuesday? Happy Tuesday, gladiators in suits. I missed you guys. Last time I did live was, I think, 4 days ago. So, welcome. Let me just move, by the way, on TikTok. Let me just move my. Where can I move this one? Let me move it here. There you go. Good evening. Tonight's session is going to be another exciting talk. It's about, because I'm feeling this lately. That's why I think I want to talk about it also. Tonight's going to be about getting exhausted with too much workload. And when I say exhausted, it could mean getting exhausted either mentally or also physically. Could also be emotionally. We're going to talk about these things in a while. I'm looking at folks now. Ooh, we got a lot of folks on LinkedIn, by the way. Thank you for joining our session tonight. Can I get a letter M? Did you guys miss me? I hope you did. Sorry, I didn't go online Friday, Saturday, and Sunday and Monday because I was just really too tired. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, we all had 1 day workshops. It was either for SMX or for another client. And I felt like even if I wanted to go out and be live, I needed some me time. I needed either to rest or to be with friends. So, trying to make up for this, we're going to be doing a wonderful session tonight, a very enriching session about getting exhausted with too much workload. What do you do with it? How do you manage it? Do you just go away? Do you confront your manager? Do you quit? Is this something that you think you can complain about or share it with your colleagues? What do you do? Okay. As usual, even if our topic is about getting exhausted with too much workload, we're also going to be talking about other things that are related to your career. So, whether it's about conflicts with your colleagues, job hunting, job interviews, quitting your job. I've read an article this morning. There is such a thing as loud quitting, and loud quitting is you're being vocal about the injustices that your company is doing to you, for example, and you don't care anymore if you're going to be fired for it. You just want to feel being heard and you want to get back at them by letting them know that you're not going to be silent about it, for example. So we're going to talk about that as well. Okay. Elaine is asking, how many hours will this be? Hours? Do you really think I have the energy to do this for 3 hours? We usually do this 1 hour or 1.5. I try to keep it at 1 hour. Also because I think by 9:30 I should be sleeping. Unfortunately, I have a 4 a.m. flight in a few hours. So I think I'll sleep from 9:30 to 1 a.m., leave my apartment around 1:30 or 2 o'clock, and then get to the airport and be in the plane and check in by 4:30. Marian Fernando says hello, watching from Qatar. Ronalyn also says hello. Thank you for joining our session tonight. Clarice from LinkedIn says good evening. Carlota also says good evening. Same thing from Anne and also Lloyd. Folks from TikTok also have the same thing. Reading the 𝗧𝗍𝗆, what is your job? I am a consultant for a lot of organizations. We do organizational behavior. The easiest way to answer that is you can also Google search my name. And I think you can easily find out what we do. Ayan. Errands on TikTok. I so agree with this. As they say here in the Philippines, if you are so good in what you do and they appreciate you, they will keep on dumping more work. I agree. Can I get an exclamation mark if you guys agree with that? I call this, by the way, as the star employee paradox. The star employee paradox is when if your manager sees you as someone that they can rely on, if your manager thinks that you can be left unattended with minimal supervision, they will keep on trusting you, and unfortunately, they will keep on dumping more work. Now, ideally, if you dump more work to your people, you should compensate it with either better salary, more recognition, or whatever perks that is commensurate to the additional amount of effort and patience and tears that they give to you. Problem is, most companies don't. Most companies will keep on squeezing you, and that is capitalism, by the way. Most companies will keep on squeezing you up to a point that it will break you. And so you have to speak up. You have to set your boundaries. I'm talking about the fair type of boundaries, the right amount of compensation, the right amount of recognition that justifies what you're given. By the way, I'm not here to praise basic work. If you are giving what is expected from you, I don't think it's something that we need to celebrate because that is something that is a given in life. But if someone goes beyond their call of duty, if someone pushes beyond what's expected, the least that I think an organization should do is to recognize it, verbally recognize it. If you can, push and financially give them merit for it. At some point, if it's consistently done over a few months or years, promote the person, for example, as well. Okay. Edmond is watching from Nigeria. Thank you for joining us. Vincent says, excited for tonight's learning. I'm also excited to see you guys again. Noemi says, hello from PVAO. FSEO. I don't know what that means, but thank you for joining our session tonight. Okay, Bernadette De Leon on YouTube says, John, and I'm displaying it now on the screen, I need your expertise on how to handle demotivated team members due to recent cost-cutting measures. Ooh, okay. When someone says cost-cutting, Bernadette, could you specify what that means? Because at the top of my head, when someone says cost-cutting, it could mean, for example, you were originally given food, maybe that was taken away. You probably had free coffee in the office. Probably that was taken away. Business trips perhaps are canceled. Another example would be your team building, your parties. These are the things that are usually taken away when company does cost cutting. Or no one is allowed to do overtime work. Or if ever you're doing overtime work, your additional pay is also not going to be provided. Am I right? Yes. There are three things that come into mind on how to manage people who get motivated. Number one, I think one of the easiest way is to first explain to them why the company is cost cutting. That's important. I've seen a lot of organizations wherein they would just just say it out loud. Okay, we're cost cutting, and that's it. Why are you cost cutting? Is it because the company is in financial trouble? Is it the company is not in financial trouble, but it wants to streamline certain costs that it doesn't think are important? Okay. Or let's say, for example, does it want to cut on costs because it's trying to save up for a certain project or for a certain merger with another organization? These things are very important because when you give reasons to people and they appreciate the reasons why, even if the reason may be bad, it gives them a level of control. It gives them a level of predictability. And for many people, they will understand. People are smart. They know that when a company does cost cutting, it's not like it's the only one that does it in the rest of the world. Many organizations do cost cutting. In today's world, when the economics are so unpredictable, people can appreciate why people do cost cutting. But you have to explain why to them in the first place. Okay? Sometimes, I remember experiencing this in one of the companies I work for. When we did cost cutting, they even explained to us how much were the expected savings if we do this cost cutting. And because we do that cost cutting and this is the amount that we save, we get to use that savings for something else. And that made me appreciate better that whatever it is that I was doing to save money, it was yielding impact for the organization. That for me led to my motivation that this is the right thing to do. So Bernadette, I know it sounds basic, but have you properly or has the company properly explained to folks why is this cost cutting even warranted? Okay. Okay. Jolene says, watching from Bicol, I usually watch the recorded session. Yes, thank you, by the way. Ooh, if people are wondering, if you happen to be on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, this live is not deleted from our page. You can go to the live section or video section and it's going to be there. Unfortunately, for TikTok, TikTok does not have a feature to allow recorded live to be displayed again. So, TikTok folks, if you know that in the future you might not be able to watch us live, you can just go to our Facebook page. Okay? Facebook page.com, sorry, facebook.com/JonathanYabut. Romel says, watching from the land of the rising sun. Is this Japan? Because I'll be flying to Tokyo in a few hours. I have a talk tomorrow for an organization, and then I'm going to be extending for a few days. It's also my birthday week. Yee. I'm spending my birthday in Tokyo on Saturday, and then back next week. Okay, let's capture some more questions here. Oh, Bernadette now gave an extra response to her message a while ago. It's because of layoffs and pay cuts. I hope you explain what the layoffs are for. And it might be something that is sensitive, but a level of understanding of why the pay cuts and the layoffs are done would help them appreciate why. Okay, I think for most people they would think it's a given. People understand why, but not everyone's intelligent enough, and not everyone understands why the company still does it. Okay, interesting question. Bonwa says, what is the best question to ask when you're meeting for the first time the company's multi-million owner aside from how are you? It depends on the context of how are you asking the question. If it's a dinner, for example, uh, I would ask things such as what inspired you or what started you to get to where you are today. I would ask those questions because I think one of the most beautiful things to ask a multimillionaire is to ask about their humble beginnings or to ask how they started their venture. If this is just a quick elevator talk, how is your week is a good question. But I would also, in an elevator talk or a quick corridor walk, which is what, 30 seconds or 1 minute, or maybe even less, I would ask questions such as I would ask something about our own product. Like I would be brave and ask something that I wish that they would add. Like for example, if I was managing this specific product that had only two flavors, I would this is just me. I would be brave and say, "Hey, Mr. Santos, uh, can I talk to you or someone from your team because I would love to propose if we can add another flavor into our product. I've already mentioned it to the other members, but I just thought I wanted you to know it as well." I'd ask something like that. It's still business related. At the same time, you're trying to make a mark because you want this multi-million business owner to remember you. And I think it's something that they will not just simply brush aside because it's also something about business. So there. Um, Ariane, what would you do if your work costs you your mental and emotional health? Two things. I would talk to someone that could be my boss or my teammate if I think that the very reason why my mental and emotional health is caused by my job. Okay. And that would include what can I do to further improve my workload or what can I do to improve my situation? If I have exhausted that and I think that the company is not going to change for the next 3 to 6 months, then you guys know my answer here. And that is it might be time to seek for greener pastures where you can be treated way better than this organization or by the people in that organization. Okay, controversial question. And I honestly don't know how to answer this because I'm half baked. John, what is your take on companies scheduling company outing on the employee's rest day? Ah, ideally, I would not schedule it Friday moving to Saturday. I will definitely not do it Saturday and Sunday only because for certain parents who happen to have kids, it's eating away their entire weekend. So for me, ideally, I would say Thursday and Friday are good time to do your company outing or your excursions. I think somehow Friday that bounces and spills over to Saturday morning may be forgivable. When are the, and that's because I think it's not a lot of time taken away also. When is the forgivable situation? When I think it's okay to eat up the entire weekend? Maybe if the company even spent or allowed the family members to come with them during the excursion, then I think it's total rest that you're giving away to these families. And I think that's totally fine. But otherwise, I'd go for Thursday, Friday, or Wednesday, Thursday instead also. Okay. Are you impressed? Okay, Jessica on TikTok asks this question. Are you impressed with people who are working outside their shift? Yes. I think people who are hustlers who have enough energy and make time to do another sideline job, I think they do have the right motivate, as long as they have the right motivations for it and they're working hard for something that they want to earn, go for it. Just a quick technical, one quick technicality, you have to check first if your company is allowing you to do sideline jobs. Because in your employment contracts, sometimes it is stated that you can only devote your full attention and time to only one employer. You might be called out for breach of contract if they find out that you're working for another company. Worse, if the company is a direct competitor of your current company as well. So be mindful of that. Reynard Sanarte on Facebook is asking this question. How can I convey my concern about too much work to my boss without seeming like it's just a complaint about workload? Okay, since we're getting deeper into the discussion now, I employ three items in my criteria before I complain about a certain workload. Okay, I'm going to repeat before I complain, before I approach my boss that I have an issue about bazillions of things to do, there are three things that I will ask myself first. The number one that I will ask is, have I been properly trained? When I say training, that includes conferences, that includes mentorship, that includes coaching. It could be a video, it could be a live, etc. Because that is the responsibility of the organization. If you're asking people to do X, Y, and Z, proper training should be given, especially if it's something that's very technical. Okay? So training, number one. Number two, have I been given the right tools and gadgets and software for me to get the job done? Because if the company is asking me to do something and I'm required to do it, but it has to be manual, then there is a reason for you to step up and say, there is a better way to do it. Why are we doing it in the manual way that only eats up more time from the rest of the team? That's my second question. The third question that I will ask is this job also given to my other teammates? Or is there someone in the company who's also doing almost the same amount of workload? And how are they faring? Because if they're doing fine and they're able to submit it based on the deadlines imposed to them, then that's when I'm going to start asking the question, maybe the issue is not the workload, maybe the issue is me. I think it also goes with my criteria number one. I've talked about proper training. And the reason for that is because maybe the issue is not the workload. The workload is manageable. It's just that I was not properly trained. So, in an ideal world, if you have been properly trained, it would only take you 2 hours. But because you have not been properly trained, it takes you 4 hours, 6 hours. Therefore, the problem is not the nature of work. The problem is the talent. Can I get an exclamation mark if you can relate with that? Yes? I'll give an example. Um, Sadly, I've had this frustrating and disappointing discussion with one of my direct reports this afternoon. And one of them has been slow in submitting things. Not only slow, but also I've noticed that there are a lot of mistakes lately to how they do things. And it comes to a point wherein usually we get things done in just 15 minutes. Now it's taking 1 hour or 2 hours. And so my take is the issue why we're not getting things done, or the issue why things are getting slower, is not because I'm dumping a lot of work. It's because the person is not performing the way that they were in the past. You get what I mean? And so if performance is therefore an issue, then the tendency of the employee is to think that the problem is not me, the problem is the boss. And they will fail to see it that way because they will always be biased towards themselves. They will always think that the problem is not them. They will always think that the problem is the manager. And sometimes, if you happen to be the manager, your goal is to make them realize that it's not the nature of the job. It's you who needs to step up. Of course, I'm going to flip the table. There are also managers wherein they keep on dumping, but they don't even have the decency to train, to coach, and to mentor. Okay? My point is, this entire career talk tonight is all about people realizing that workload is relative. Can I get the letter R if you agree? Workload is relative. For someone, this amount of workload is not so much. But for another person, this amount of workload is too much. Right? It can be relative. It can be relative based on someone's competency. It can be relative based on someone's mastery. If you're giving workload to someone who's been doing it for many years, they will get it done. If you're giving workload to someone who's an amateur and needs a lot of mentoring, they will not be able to cope easily with it. Okay? So, Reynard, sorry, I digressed significantly. If I were to answer your question now and you say, how can I convey my concern about too much workload to my boss? If you have ticked the boxes and if you've noticed that all of these three things, you have already been coached, you have already were given the right devices, and your teammate are also not properly coping with it, then it means the issue now is really the workload. Meaning your boss keeps on dumping too much beyond your bandwidth, beyond your capacity. So when I go to my manager, I will approach in two ways. Number one, I will approach with curiosity, and I will approach with a tone of, I'm part of the team and I want to make things better. But in order for me to accomplish a lot of things, I'd like to help on X, Y, and Z. So sometimes my favorite tactic is, I'm going to negotiate with my boss that if I can delay certain projects to another day so I can focus my time for projects A and B, can that be possible? This way, I am not complaining that I have to get rid of certain projects. Remember, my goal is not to get rid of projects because likely you can't just delete projects from your project list. What I'm only asking is, because you've told me so many things to accomplish today, may I negotiate? I will only do letter A, B, and C, letter D, E, and F. I'm going to delay it instead to Friday or to next week. Here's the problem with some managers. Sometimes they will keep on dumping work because they have zero visibility on what you're exactly doing. And so at the back of their head, because they're also very busy, they will keep on saying, she has more bandwidth, she has more space, she has more time. But that's because she doesn't know that you're also doing A, B, C, D, E, and F, and all these things. Okay? So that's my tip number 2. Sometimes you have to remind your boss that you are working on this amount of workload. Can I get another exclamation mark from our participants, from our viewers? You know what I would do on a Monday morning? If your manager does not do this, I will invite my manager. I will invite my manager for a one-on-one 15-minute huddle and tell my manager, boss, I just like you to know, here is my work plate for the week. Do you have anything that you'd like to add, or do you think that I have missed out on anything? Okay? This way, you'll be able to capture, your manager will be able to realize, I thought Jonathan was only doing 2, 3, and 4 things. Man, he's doing 20. He's doing 25. And I promise you guys, there are managers who are like this. Some managers just don't have any single idea that you're working on this amount of work. Can I get a letter X if you agree with me? And I'm saying this with so much passion because I've had bosses like this. I've had have had. Tony was also like this. And I can't blame him, 17 direct reports. Sometimes managers will not be able to keep track. And remember that managers are also just human beings. Agree? Right? Agree. They're all just human beings. So sometimes you just have to remind them that this is the amount. And when you've already told them that this is the amount of workload, they will realize, okay, I need to pause. I need to allow Jonathan to pause for a bit because this is how much they're already working on. And that triggers now the manager to move some projects to another team member or to move some projects to another day. Okay? Yes? Thank you. Okay, I see a lot of letter X now in the chat box. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, I want to answer this again because I've answered it many times, but I think it's relevant for certain people. Is the non-compete contract legal? Yes, it is if you signed up to it because it's a consensus. There is consent. Okay, and right now, unfortunately, there is no legal, there is no regulation that doesn't allow organizations to put it as part of an employment contract. So it's up to you, unfortunately. It's more of like the company says, you want us so bad, then you have to agree to this. That's how they usually cover that. I like this. Says, how do I introduce a new tool to my subordinates that is so awful to use? Okay, says question. When you say it's awful, you also find it awful to begin with? Because I'm going to tell this to you. If it's so awful to use, then people are not going to use it based on merit. They're going to use it based on compliance, just because the company requires them to do it. So I think the bottom line solution here is to make it better, easier, and more inspiring to use. You have to give that feedback to the team or to the management who imposed this tool on you. In the meantime, if you have no choice, use it for a few months, but someone has to revise and someone has to make some revisions on that project, on that program to use. Okay, some more question. Ryan Husay. Bah, okay, may advance pa talaga. Okay, Ryan Husay says, advance happy birthday. Thank you for the greeting. How do you properly coach people without making it look and make them feel like you are micro managing them? Two things. Number one, explain why are you guiding them. So remember, the general rule in psychology is that if someone understands your intentions behind your actions, your motives, if you tell it to them, they will lower their guards. So I will say something like, John, I know that if I were in your position and if someone was telling me exactly what to do, I would be pissed off. Okay? I would say something like that to my employees. I'd say, I'd be pissed off. I understand that you will feel that way. However, in the meantime, I need to handhold you for now. I need to guide you for now because if ever we make a certain mistake, that mistake is going to be too costly, not just for you, but also for me and the rest of the company. So for the first few weeks, I need to be here present and I'm here to back you up. Okay? And then you can also, number two, give them a level of predictability and tell them, okay, Jonathan, however, if you have proven to me in the next few days that you can consistently get the job done with minimal supervision and without me not being there, if you can preside in a meeting without me speaking on your behalf, then I'm going to let you go. You know why? Because I got other things to do as well. And I'd be very happy if you do things on your own. So that, by the way, in negotiation is called a soft yes. It's a conditional yes. Yes, I will do this. Yes, I will let you be on your own, but if the conditions are A, B, and C. And for many people, it inspires them to look for that condition so that they get to the yes part. Okay, so I'm going to repeat. Number one, how do you call this? Explain the reasons why you're doing it. Don't just do it without any reasoning. No one's going to like it when someone, I'll give an example. Let's talk about, again, something that a lot of people can relate because it's my favorite example. When you ghost on someone, like, you've been flirting with each other, you've been talking to each other for quite a while, and then the person just suddenly goes away. Or let's say you've been boyfriend or girlfriend for a few months and the person just goes away without telling you why. It's going to be hard for you to move on. Agree? Can I get an can I get an amen if you agree? Yes? And that's because human beings are always wired to understand the why. It's always the why that makes us move towards a certain motive. You have to do the same thing also for your people. If you have plans of micromanaging them, hand holding them, or guiding them, you have to explain why. Remember, people are also biased. Some people think ang galing-galing na niya. Some people think I'm this good, but in your level, they're not that good. You have to tell it to them directly. You have to be honest to them and say, you might think that you're already level 10, but I would give you a level 6. And that's not a bad thing because I'm here to get you to level 10. But in the meantime, for you to get to that level, we need to do the following steps first. Okay? And that's point number 2, to summarize again. Give them the conditions on how and when you will let them go. Okay? I hope that covers it. Okay, let's answer this question from Clarence Agura from Facebook. How can you be honest and relate things for people who are so sensitive to hear criticism to the point that they will take it personally and be vengeful, especially that it is something that was discussed in a formal meeting? Okay, Clarence, I've had lots of webinars for this. We've also do this in our talks. One of the classic ways to give feedback to someone is what we call as the sandwich technique. Can I get a letter S from the participants, from the viewers, if you guys can relate to that? Sandwich technique. What is the sandwich technique? Sandwich technique is you give something positive, followed by the constructive feedback, and then you follow and end it with another positive feedback. Why is this important? It is very effective for people who are not emotionally mature. They always handle every feedback as something that's offensive. And they have this paranoia that everyone is out there to get them. So the sandwich technique, because you give positive feedback in between, it makes them realize, even if there's something that you need to improve on, please note that it's not always bad. You are also being recognized for good things that you've done. However, we're not perfect and there are things that we can improve. So I'd like you to work on X, Y, and Z as well. Okay? So I hope, Clarence, that works. I will also share one more tip. My personal philosophy in life is to recognize and praise people publicly, because when they feel that they are in the spotlight and they enjoy the attention, not just showered by one person, but by a lot of folks. However, if you need to apprehend someone, do it privately. So maybe the reason why this person is very sensitive to the criticism is because it's being shared publicly. So the shame is multiplied 5 times or 10 times. Okay? I think the only reason why you should shame someone publicly is because you're teaching a lesson to everyone in the team and that it's a very critical mistake. However, if it is something that can be shared privately, if it's something that can be understood without the others hearing it, I don't think you need to embarrass the person in front of others. That will make them hold back. That will make them disengage more. So consider instead, if you can, call out the person privately. Okay? Okay. Wow. We got lots of questions on TikTok. This is why I'm so new on TikTok, by the way. Can someone teach me uh, what does it mean when I get a rose? Sorry. What does it mean when I get, all these other things? And I wish I can thank the people who are given those things. But okay, I will Google them. Okay, I will check them later. Okay, like Maine, for example, I'm gonna say thank you for sending a rose. I don't know what that means though. I do think, however, it's a sign of someone being grateful to what we're doing. Maybe. It's a I am familiar it's a virtual gift. I just don't know what's the value of it. Or how do people convertible to cash. Oh, okay. Okay. Ah, okay. Now I get it. It's just like Facebook stars. Now I understand it. Thank you. Okay, let's look some more. Okay, let me answer this also quickly. It's one of the most popular questions asked. How do you handle staff who are older than you are? Number one, don't make them think that you are their competitor. Make them think that you are their ally. You're here as their manager because at some point you also want them to get promoted in the future. And you're here to help them get to that stage. Okay. Otherwise, by default, someone who's older will always be insecure because they will always think, why is she the manager when I'm older? I should be the manager instead. And number two, you will always get that immunity if you do so goddamn well. When I say that, if they're going to the office at 9 a.m., go to the office at 8. If they send 5 emails, send 6. The more you become a master of your craft, the more people will realize, there's a reason why she is the boss because she's just so damn good in what she does. So, credibility is one of your best immunities when people start to question your position. Ooh, okay. I like this one because I had this friend before. Charmaine on Facebook says, how to politely tell a colleague not to share too much of their personal concerns at work. A friend of mine told this to me before, and I told this guy, I appreciate you tell this to me, and maybe because you trust me, but here's a tip. And I'm sharing this tip because I'm concerned with you as a friend. I don't think that you should just randomly tell this to everyone. Maybe you're telling it to me because I'm your friend, but I'm just concerned that you might be trusting of others. And if you tell this to others, they might see you in a different light. Therefore, X, Y, and Z. I would say it that way out of care. But if the person's smart, they will have an idea that you're not just referring to other people, you're also referring to yourself. And so this is hoping that they will not be as TMI whenever they engage you. Okay? Ooh, okay, Jasper. You have a very, how do I call this? An interesting concern. I am a trainer. Oh, we're in the same league. I'm a trainer, Jasper says. How do I tell the new hires about work culture and environment in a good way when in reality it's not and it can discourage them? Uh, I'm going to answer this with candor. Okay. First and foremost, if you're a trainer and you don't even think that your company has the right culture to begin with, then you should rethink if this is the right company for you more than anything else. Because I don't think that will be sustainable enough. At some point in the next 2 or 3 years, you yourself will be demotivating for your other students. This is very important because if the HR and the training department is one of the most disengaged departments, that is going to trickle down to the rest of how the employees see themselves. Can I get an exclamation mark if you guys agree? Yes? Do you agree? So, if you're asking me, Jasper, now, how do I tell new hires about the work culture and environment? I will instead list down the top 3 things that I think are good in the company, and I'll just gonna focus on that. I will not sugarcoat. I will not exaggerate. I will just choose what I think are provided generously, and then I will focus on those things. I will not exaggerate it because I think it's doing injustice and I think it's unfair because when you sugarcoat, it hides the imperfections that these people ought to realize later on. Okay. I think you should also do one more thing. If you are the one who has the visibility that there are bad things happen in the company, I think you should also call it out. I think you should also talk to your manager, or if you have an opportunity, talk to the management and say, what can we do to improve on X, Y, and Z? But Jasper, this is just me. I do think you yourself can be disengaged. So you might want to rethink what are your next steps because it's either you change the system or you leave the system. Yes? Can I get an exclamation mark again if you agree? Okay. I wish I can handle so many good questions on TikTok, but let's answer one more. Okay. Justin, by the way, says, see you at the Concentrics event on the Rise. Yes, we're doing a session for you guys on end of July, right? Last week of July. Very excited to see you guys. I think it's a live event. It's in your office, so I can't wait to see you. Thank you for inviting me as well. Ooh, okay. Let's cover this question now. Razel, I'm in an industry that is very high paying but very exhausting and not sustainable. Do I stay or quit? If you're young and I think that you can manage it, and even if it's exhausting, you are learning tremendously. Can I get a letter L from the participants if you can relate? If you are learning tremendously, meaning the projects are just high caliber, you're getting certifications, you're being exposed to the VIPs, I think you should stay because I think that will also help you get stretched. If, however, you're at the stage in your life when you want to settle down, build your family, or you want your peace and quiet because something bad happened to you in the past, then I think it's worth quitting because obviously you will not be able to juggle both at the same time. So I will say that this will depend on what you're looking for at that moment in your life. Yes, agree? I will also say, I will answer things with my own. Again, I'm going to be biased because I'm going to be projecting my answers here. But I know that I'm the type of person who has a very high threshold for pain. When I talk about pain, not physical pain, but emotional pain, I have a very high threshold for that. And so I'm the type of person wherein if I don't like the situation, I know that I will not easily give up. I will give it 1 month or 2 months or 3 months because I'm a believer that sometimes bad situations are due to accidents and that they might improve in the next few weeks or months. Such that have I stayed longer, maybe I will get to a point when this pain can get away. So my mindset is if I can keep on pushing it, as long as I can calculate that I will not break, meaning mental health, physical health, social relationships with family are still intact, then I think I will see it not as exhaustion. I will see it as a challenge that will make me even tougher and sharper. And again, I'm saying this not as a blanket policy, but for people to understand that everyone has different thresholds. You need to identify where your threshold is. I will always sound it off to my set of friends. This is the reason why I don't think you should never bottle up your feelings to yourself. I will choose 5 friends, like one close friend, one not so close friend, another friend who's in the same industry, another friend who's in the same company, so I can get different perspectives. One day I ask them, should I stay or should I quit? I will be able to collect and select and get different perspectives for me to make a robust decision in the end. I will do it that way. By the way, just want to highlight that some people fall into the trap that's called selection bias. Your tendency is to select people who you know are going to give you the answers that you want to hear. Can I get another exclamation mark if you agree? If you will keep on selecting people who are going to give you answers that you want to hear, you will get the wrong answers. You will get the answers that may be not in your favor. So select a pool, those who are in favor and those who are not in favor, those who know you well personally and those who know you well professionally. And then you mix and match them and try to make a decision afterwards. Okay, 𝗧𝗱𝗆𝗀 from Facebook is asking, when a boss gives you silent treatment after declining a role that he gave, what do you think that is? I think your boss is sulking. In Tagalog, nagtatampo. My suggestion is, if you want to mend the relationship or to sustain the relationship, I think you need to properly, I'm not sure if you have, but I think you should properly explain to your manager why you are declining the role. And when you decline, don't just explain why you are staying in your current company. Sometimes, you know what matters? Explain to them the consequence if you will end up accepting the role. Because sometimes people don't understand the pain that you're going to face if they say yes to their offer. Okay? So find a way to explain that properly. Again, another way to decline is to give a conditional yes. Yes, I would love to join. However, right now, I don't think I'm ready because of X, Y, and Z. However, if in the next 6 months or 1 year, things will change, then I can give you a yes. Why is a conditional or a soft yes pleasing to the ears? It's a reframing of a no. It's technically a no. It's just that you're giving them the reasons why you will change your mind in the future. So it makes the heart feel better and at ease. And remember, sometimes it's not the answer that matters, it's how you say and how you tell the answer. Okay. Some more questions. Okay, Mitch Cuervo on TikTok says, what do you do with a boss who does not know how to confront or does not like to confront if ever an employee does something bad? These are situations wherein someone has to intervene. Someone has to tell the boss that not confronting isn't doing good, not just for the two of them, but for the rest of the team. I'll give an example. If not confronting the employee who made a mistake, the mistake spills over to other members of the team or to the other members of the department. You have to call it out and tell them, boss, if you think that not confronting this person is okay because it's just between the two of you, no. It's not just between the two of you. The problems are now spilling over also to me, also to Anna, also to Miguel. And so if we keep on doing things, it's going to make the entire team spiral into something bad. Okay? Explain. Try to make them visualize what the consequences are. Okay, let's cover some more. Sige, I'll answer some more on TikTok because we have lots. We have a backlog on TikTok here. By the way, while I'm doing that, while I'm looking for some questions, folks on Facebook and LinkedIn, could you please give us a like if you're enjoying the session so far? And if we're learning or getting some aha moments, we're going to be giving away our tickets soon. So please stay tuned for that. We're going to give away free tickets to our upcoming workshop. This is our batch number 7 of class at the SMX Convention Center, Fort BJC. Okay, I think people are typing this. Is the quote and unquote other tasks assigned a valid reason for management to add a task not in line with my job description? Okay, let's address this. When you look at your employment contracts, even if there are specific statements that indicate what are you supposed to do in your job, remember that it is a given in life that there are some tasks or projects that are not anticipated and are not usually what you're supposed to do, but you end up doing. Why is this happening? In today's modern world, roles are no longer fixed. So, what employers are looking for are flexible skills, such that even if you signed up for a sales job, you can be transferred later on to marketing. And of course, that's your choice because if you don't like the job, you can still quit if you want. But the company can recommend that you change your role, for example. Okay. Now, is this a form of abuse? Not necessarily. Okay. What I think is ethically and morally wrong for a company is to just magically transfer and change your role without any proper support. Can I get another exclamation mark if you can relate to that? When I say no proper support, I've said this a while ago, no proper training, no proper mentoring, no transition, no proper turnover of documents from one person to another. And the management does not even encourage or even push people to do that properly. Okay? If that is being done, I would call out and say, why am I being forced into something that I did not sign up for? Okay? This is something that will disengage me, and eventually that this is something that I will call out that is not part of the contract. Again, this is my limitation when I answer these kinds of questions, because these are already legal issues that I wish I can get a lawyer to speak right now. We're working on that. By the first week of August, I promise you, I'm going to bring in a lawyer to answer some of your legal questions as well. Okay? But for now, that's the value that I can give to you. I think that the company should bear the responsibility that if they change your scope of work or give you an additional role, they must give their utmost support. If they need to buy a laptop or a smartphone because the job unconditionally requires you to use a certain software, it's unfair if the company is going to require you to provide your own. Okay? Uh, is it okay? Okay. JD. Oh, can I ask again? When I get a heart here on TikTok, what does that mean? I find it very cute. So thank you for that. But what does that mean? Is it like a virtual gift again? Sorry, start. I'm. I've. I've only started my TikTok account October 2022. So, pagbigyan nyo na si Tito Jonathan because I'm not a Gen Z anymore. Okay, let me answer this from JD. Is it okay to take 1 week leave at work? I'm on my second day now, but somehow I feel guilty. I don't think you should feel guilty. Number one, if the company allowed it. Number two, if you have properly turned over your documents. And number three, if in case of emergencies, you will be able to provide help and assistance, I don't think you should be guilty. If it's something that the government, remember, the government allows every individual 5 leaves per year. 5. If your company gives you 30, that is out of their generosity. And if the company approves that you can get 1 week leave, don't feel guilty. It is part of what you signed up for. It is what the company guaranteed if you have done your job accordingly. So enjoy it. It's going to defeat the purpose if you're on your leave and you're anxious and stressed that you're supposed to be in the office at this time. Okay? Savor it. Not everyone gets to have that amount of time. Okay? Okay, Cedric from Facebook. What will you do if your manager is exhibiting poor leadership and the management keeps him or her still? What are your thoughts? Number one, someone should be giving this manager feedback that they're not getting it right. It may come from you, and I know that's easier said than done. It should come from the boss of your boss. Because if it's a good company, that they should know how to handle this person. Otherwise, my only theory why they still keep this person is because this person, despite the bad performance, has a very good personal relationship with someone in the company who has power. Or number two, the company cannot afford to lose a talent right now because it's going to be expensive and it will be very difficult to hire someone new and start from scratch. So they'd rather have a bad performing employee who can still do bare minimum versus start from zero and bear the cost of the first 3 to 6 months of someone who's starting from scratch. That's what I'm thinking. It also means that I'm going to be blunt. I think it's a red flag if your company tolerates a bad talent or employee. Can I get an exclamation mark? Someone who's been glaringly really bad, like they just really suck in their job and the company does nothing about it, I think it's a red flag because if they can do that to one employee, I'm sure that they can do that to other employees as well. Okay, Ematch says, kindly check the question of Jay Hay. Where is that question? Ooh, okay. Is it this one? How can you cascade? Okay, from Facebook, JJ Gadia says, How can you cascade effectively to your team that we are all transferring to another company, avoiding violent reactions? Number one, the only reason why people will violently react from a merger or from a buyout or from a transfer is job insecurity. Can I get the letter J if you guys agree? It's job insecurity. That's number one. The idea behind it being, if someone's gonna buy us out or if someone's gonna acquire us, am I still gonna keep my job? If you are aware that 100% that is not gonna happen, then you have to be transparent to people. Okay. Number two, if you cannot promise that to all of your employees, at least help them appreciate and understand why the company is undergoing it. Again, I'm going to go back to the same strategy. You have to explain the why. Why being, the company is in a position that it needs to evolve. It needs to be more agile to what's happening in the economy, to the changing business environment. And so the best way it can move forward is to do X, Y, and Z. Now, because we are transferring to another company, here are the possible changes that I want you to be aware of. Okay? Again, remember, people are all, especially in the corporate world, the one thing that we don't want to lose is a level of control. Can I get a letter C if you agree? It's a level of control. It's not knowing when will I get promoted. It's not knowing if I will still keep this job next week. It's not knowing if I'm performing well or bad in my current job. If you make someone lose a level of control, it makes them disengaged. So when you can explain step by step, consistently across the weeks, even if the changes happen so quickly and abruptly, people will be able to cope. People will be able to get by. Okay? Okay, I want to give now prizes to our participants. I hope you guys are cool with this. Can I get a letter P if you guys are up for a prize? I want to give away free tickets, and we always do this in our live sessions. Free tickets to our upcoming workshop at the SMX Convention Center in Fort BGC in SM Aura, July 28 Friday and July 29 Saturday. We have 4 workshops. Each workshop is 3 hours. And I guarantee you, all of our winners who attended our June session last week had so much amazing time. And I had such a blast with all who came also. So the first talk is about leadership in the hybrid work era. The second talk is about leveling up your social media marketing. And on Saturday, which is good if you have work on weekdays, Saturday session in the morning is boost your confidence for public speaking. And finally, email etiquette and business writing in the afternoon. So if you guys are ready, people are writing private, okay, some funny messages for them to win. Okay, give me a trivia category, by the way. Give me a trivia category we'll answer tonight. Ano ba gusto nyong question about? Plants, food, cities. What do you guys want? Oh, someone's asking, will you continue your session in SM Olongapo? Yes, we are, but we have announced last week that we are moving the dates. Okay, so please stand by on that part. Biology daw. Okay, song, cities. Pwede. Okay, how about the others? Let me check on TikTok what your fruits. Pwede. How do you save up for travel? Quick question. I will have certain days that I will not eat expensive food. I think it's the best way. Also, sometimes the mindset should not be saving, because saving is a passive way. Sometimes the mindset is, how do I expand my source of income so that I can travel more? That's going to be a different topic, but that's just my quick answer for it. Okay. How do you register? Sorry, one last. How do you register to our workshop? You go to our website, johnyabout.com. Okay, I think I know what our category is tonight. My category is technology. Are you guys okay with that? Technology. This one's an easy. A few years ago, the European... Oh, here's my question, by the way, na. Here's my question. A few years ago, the European Union required that all gadgets for USB, that's for the socket for your phone, will be utilizing this specific type of USB port. And lately, Apple also decided that they are going to discard their Lightning USB port in favor of this USB port, which means it's going to be easy for all of us now to only be utilizing this type of USB port. What is this USB port? So I'm going to be choosing some correct answers. We're going to be choosing 3 winners on TikTok and 1 winner on Facebook, LinkedIn, and also YouTube. So, bilis nyo ah. Okay. I'm gonna call out now my winners first on TikTok. The correct answer, by the way, is type C. Okay, type C. So my winners are, the first one on TikTok is Noy Lan. Congratulations, Noy Lan. Second winner is Poy Nicolas. Congratulations, Poy Nicolas. Type C. Third winner is Razel. And that's the correct answer also, type C. Now, let me shout out the correct answer, the winners on our Facebook. Winner on Facebook is, first one is Cedric. Congratulations, Cedric. I'm showing your name. And then on YouTube, my winner is Al Sherwin Ramos Yo. Congratulations. And then on LinkedIn, my winner is Michael Diaz. Congratulations. So that's type C. Okay. Let's give an exclamation mark to all our winners. Thank you. O, diba? It's a very easy question. Congratulations. When will we go live again? I'm not sure if I can go live this week. I'll try to go live maybe tomorrow or tomorrow night. I'll see. But guys, I'm on a trip, so I'll find a way, okay? I'll find a way. Otherwise, I think I'll be able to go live Monday na. So I'll be able to give price again that day. Okay, let's answer some questions now. I think we can cover 2 to 3 more questions before we cap off our discussion. Can I get a letter L, by the way, if we're learning something so far? And again, please take note, all of the things that we talk about are tips and advice that are coming from someone's universe. What does that mean? I don't want to be that person who will sound as if I'm imposing my advice onto others. The reason why I'm sharing my advice is because it's coming from a wealth of experience of how I was able to get through my journey, and also as a consultant and as a career coach. This doesn't mean, however, that your approach is inferior to my approach. I just want to make that disclaimer because this is not exact science. It's not like there is only one answer to a mathematical equation. There are many ways to get to the top of the mountain. My route is just one route, which I'm sharing. Someone else's route may also be a valid route for you. Okay. Vincent says, I want to avail all learning sessions. Is there a discount? Yes, we do. In fact, if you get the Boost Your Confidence and Email Etiquette, there is a discount if you get them also. Romel says, when are you going to be in Japan? I'm flying in tonight, later in 6 hours. And I'll be there until Monday next week. I have a talk. We have a talk for a company, which unfortunately I was not allowed to even make a social media post about it. So that's sad. But we'll talk for them on the 29th. I'm just going to be in Tokyo. Okay. Ooh, Mikey, okay. One of my favorite questions to answer also. What do you do if you have a teammate who's petics, lazy, doesn't give as much, and the supervisor also is not doing anything about it? Unpopular opinion, but it has worked for me. Number one, if you think that the mistake that will lead to the person not giving their best or not doing anything about it is manageable, meaning, hayaan mo silang magkamali, do not help them, do not assist them. I am a believer that sometimes you have to make certain people fall. Can I get a letter F? If you agree. Sometimes you have to let certain people fall. If you think that the mistake is manageable, if you think that the risks are not too high, let them fall to a point that they will realize that no one is out there to pick them up but themselves. And that also includes your manager. Your manager probably is very lenient and very lax because your manager thinks, okay, if Sarah is not doing anything, Michael is going to help anyway. So I'm not going to be intervening. Let them fail. Sometimes it's the only way. Sometimes the only way is for them to experience the pain. Now, if you think that the problem is very critical and you cannot afford them to make a mistake, I would go for a one-on-one heart-to-heart talk. And I will ask them what is the reason why this is happening. And I will also explain to them the consequences that if this happens and this blows up to something big, these are the potential consequences. Okay? Third choice, I would talk to the manager. If you think that the manager and the employee both are not amenable to any discussion, this is where I think it's worth it to be escalated to HR or to another senior leader. Like, for example, the boss of your boss. Again, it's easier said than done because this might burn bridges. It's not always good to tell on your boss to their boss, but it is possible. It's, anything that we say in this session is always going to be easier said than done. But you have two options. It's either you do it or you avoid it. And that's life. Nico says, it's so dark. Haha. It is. Okay. I'm not going to be that person who will talk about the nicest things to do because the corporate world is not just about incentivizing. Let's face it. The corporate world is also about penalizing and sharing consequences because not everyone in this world works according to incentives. Can I get another exclamation mark? Agree? Madaming tao sa mundo. Even if lagyan mo ng 1,000,000 piso or any incentive, it's not the type of tool that encourages them to move. Sometimes what makes them move is the penalty. It's the consequence. It's the shame. It's the reputation. It's the hurting of the feelings at times. I think as long as you're being fair, I think that penalty should be given. Reprimands work for certain people in the end. Okay? That's why it's a balance of both. It's an art. That's why leadership is an art. How do you balance the good amount of incentives and benefits vis-a-vis your penalties and consequences? And both of them should be used in order for people to be motivated to move according to your objectives. Seth is asking on Facebook, what is the essence of exit interview? It's usually to understand what can the company improve in the future and to avoid people leaving the company. Because remember, the number one metric of HR for most organizations is attrition. The ability and self and people engagement. People are happy, therefore they don't see the reason why they have to live. Sorry, leave, not live. Okay. Can I do one more question? I think we can do one. Jules, is the KPI or the goal measurement should be transparent to the team? Of course, that's a given. That's like saying the sky is blue. It should always be. When people don't know what to measure, they will not be able to improve. Remember, what can be measured can be improved. What can be measured can be improved. It's your responsibility to tell your people what are their KPIs and metrics. Otherwise, they're going to be blinded with what they do. What do you do when you confronted a boss with an issue about her in a very polite way but didn't take it nicely? You've done your part. As long as you've said it nicely in a very polite way but they still didn't take it, that's their problem, not yours. There are just some people who don't want to accept feedback. That's it. They're very closed-minded. They don't think that it's about being cared for. They think it's about antagonism. I will always say this. When someone gives me feedback, I will believe that the person said it mostly because they care for me. Can I get a letter C if you agree? Again, does the opposite of love is not hate. What is the opposite of love? It's indifference. It's apathy. Because when you hate someone, you still have regret that this person is not changing accordingly, meaning you care for them. So there is still a certain amount of love. It just happens to be negative. The opposite of love is therefore not hatred. It's indifference. It's when you don't care anymore whatever this person does in their life, as if they do not exist. So when someone gives me feedback and say, you know what, John, when you said this a while ago, it hurt my feelings. It hurt the audience feelings because of X, Y, and Z. When someone tells that to me, I may feel hurt for a bit, but I will be grateful for that. Why? This person wants to tell it to me because they know that I can further improve. I have space to become better. And they know that I can do better than this. And so I might not be aware of it. And so I'm being made aware of it. If you have someone who cannot appreciate that, it's, again, easier said than done, but that person needs to be told that this feedback is not bad. Maybe, I forgot who's that person who said that question a while ago. Every time I give feedback to someone, I tell them again my intentions. Boss, I'm saying this to you not because I feel bad. I'm the kontrabida in your life. I respect you. I idolize you. I think you're such a very good boss. However, there was this part when you did X, Y, and Z, and I'm saying it out of care because I think you can do better than this. If you say it that way, I think the guards of your boss will get lower also. Mm, okay. This is an interesting one. 𝗧𝗱𝗆 on TikTok says, sayang daw ang galing kapag hindi bibigyan ng additional task. Is it normal to say? What if your boss tells you that if they don't give you additional task, the talent is not fully maximized? I think it's fair. I think it's especially fair if the goal of the manager is to stretch you because they do have intentions of promoting you in the future and they want to test if you are up for the challenge and if you can prove it, especially during times of ambiguity. I think it's fair. I think, however, that this type of statement can also be a form of gaslighting, meaning the manager makes you feel guilty that if you don't step up to the challenge, then you're not part of the team, that you are betraying the expectations of the company. So it can go both ways. Look at the history of your relationship with your manager. Look at the history of how the manager did this to the other team members. If the manager did this to other team members and those team members eventually also got promoted, then the intentions are sincere. Then, therefore, this manager does want to give additional challenge because they want to test the waters first. So it's not always going to be a bad thing, but you have to look at the motives. And I understand, again, easier said than done. Motives are hard to read, but motives can be explored. They can be investigated. By the way, TikTok folks, are you answering the poll? Can I get an exclamation mark on TikTok? Did you get to answer the poll that I've sent there? So we have a poll that says, are you tired currently with your job, with your work? Sagutin nyo naman. Just want to check how you guys are feeling also about it. Okay, let's answer this. This one's the last question. How will you know if your boss has a favorite? First, I'm going to correct the assumption here. Is it bad if a manager has a favorite? One, I don't think so all the time. In fact, sometimes managers don't notice it, but they do have favorites only because if someone is extremely performing well, if someone is just amazing, it's hard not to be, not to feel good about this employee because they're just extremely doing well. So some people are unconscious about those bias. I do think it's a bad thing if you are favoring the person that despite their mistakes and their shortcomings, you don't hold them accountable for those mistakes. I think that's the bad type of favoritism. Okay? But it's not always a bad thing. It can be a good thing. In fact, when you show to a person that they are your favorite, the more you get to push expectations and the more you get to stretch that person's capacity. Can I get an exclamation mark? Agree? But to answer this question, how do you know if someone's a favorite of the boss? Good signs of it, they assign you certain projects that you have been requesting. They give you projects that give you visibility to the upper management so that when you get promoted, it's easier for you to get promoted because they have been exposed to your flashes of brilliance. The bad signs of favoritism is the person's always late, but they never get called out for it. The person got promoted even if they didn't deserve it. Those are examples of bad signs of favoritism. Okay? Gladiators in suits. I need to pause now. It's been an hour. Can I get a letter L again? Did we learn anything today? Did we enjoy our discussion? If it's your first time to catch us, you can also listen to our Spotify. If nabitin kayo with this discussion, the Spotify podcast is entitled From Grit to Great, hosted by yours truly and by my brother Jed. We talk about career management, leadership, public speaking, everything under the sun about careers, and mostly well designed for millennial workers as well. Okay. I will really find a way. I think I should go online because it's my birthday this week. So I'm going to talk about something that can resound more to folks. But I'm not going to promise because I want to have a good, fun weekend. My friends are also dropping by in Tokyo. So it's more of a birthday weekend as well. But we'll find a way. Otherwise, I'll go online on Monday. I hope that's okay with all of you. Thank you. I'm only as good as the energy you bounce back to me. So for that, I appreciate that you spent the night with us. I'm going to see you soon. Good luck and always aspire for a better version. See you guys. To get to know our workshops, if you'd like to enroll in our upcoming sessions, you can just log on to our website, 𝗀𝗏𝗃.com, and there is a section on how to enroll to our workshops. If you cannot attend face-to-face, we have online courses that you can attend. And lastly, lahat na binenta, no? If you have an opportunity, please grab our books. We have an upcoming book sale at Lazada and Shopee from July 1 to July 8. And finally, our TikTok shop is now open. So for TikTok folks, you can go to the yellow basket and catch our best-selling books to be delivered to your doorstep. Maraming salamat po. For those who want tickets, by the way, what do? Send us a private message so we can send to you instructions on how to claim your prize. Okay? Bye, guys. Thank you.